Mistake their stillness for lack of feeling, because the energy here says something very different is happening beneath the surface. You may think they have lost interest. You may think they are moving on. You may think the connection has grown colder than it really is. But the cards say their heart is not as detached as it looks, not even close. What is happening here feels more like hidden emotion than faded emotion, more like guarded feeling than missing feeling, more like someone trying to control what they feel than someone who no longer feels anything at all. And that is why this reading matters, because sometimes the person who looks the most distant is the one feeling the most inside. The first card appearing here is the Four of Cups. This card tells me they may look withdrawn right now, quiet, hard to read, possibly even emotionally unavailable from the outside. But the Four of Cups is not a card of true indifference. It is a card of someone sitting with feelings they do not know how to process cleanly. A person who may be emotionally overwhelmed, and instead of expressing that honestly, pulls inward. So if this person seems less responsive than before, less obvious, less open, that does not automatically mean their feelings are gone. It may mean the opposite. It may mean they are trying to keep those feelings contained. The next card appearing here is the Moon. This card immediately confirms hidden emotion. The Moon is what lives underneath the surface. Unspoken longing, confusion, fear, things a person feels but does not yet know how to say. So if you have been reading their behavior only by what they show directly, the Moon says that may not tell the full story. They may be carrying much more than they reveal. They may miss you and not say it, think about you and not show it, feel affected by the distance, and still act like they are fine, because the Moon is the card of emotion that has not found safe language yet. The next card appearing here is the Six of Cups. This is very tender because it says memory is still alive. This person may still replay certain moments with you. A message, a laugh, a small exchange that looked ordinary at the time but stayed in their heart afterward. The Six of Cups says your energy is not gone from them. It lingers. And when a person keeps returning to the emotional warmth of past moments, that is not the sign of someone whose interest has died. It is the sign of someone still emotionally attached. The next card appearing here is the Hermit. Now we see why everything looks so quiet. The Hermit is someone who goes inward, someone who feels deeply but processes privately, someone who may need time alone with their own thoughts before they can understand what they are really carrying. So this person may be thinking about you far more than they are speaking about you. They may be reflecting, questioning, trying to understand why your energy still stays with them. And the more they reflect, the more the truth may become difficult for them to ignore. The next card appearing here is the Nine of Cups. This is beautiful because it says your energy still brings emotional warmth into their world. When they think about you, something soft still happens inside them. There may still be a smile, a lift in mood, a sweetness they cannot fully explain. The Nine of Cups says you are not connected to emptiness in their heart. You are connected to feeling, and that matters because people do not continue feeling emotional warmth around someone they truly no longer care about. The next card appearing here is the Page of Cups. This card shows that emotion may still want expression, even if it is shy, delayed, or careful. There is still softness here, still a wish to reach, still a part of them that may want to say something honest, but not know how to begin. The Page of Cups is not loud love, it is quiet love, trying to gather courage. The final card appearing here is the Lovers, and this is the clearest truth in the whole spread. The bond still matters to them deeply. Not in a vague way, not in a casual way, not in a maybe once kind of way. The Lover says the emotional meaning of this connection has not disappeared. So the message coming through is very clear. You may think they have lost interest, but the cards say their feelings are not gone. They are hidden, guarded, quiet, still being processed. And sometimes the person who seems the furthest away on the outside is the one whose heart is still closest on the inside. There is one more thing here. Their silence may not be emptiness at all. It may be the shape their feelings take when they are afraid of how much they still care. And that is why this connection still feels alive, even through the quiet now more than you do. A quieter truth begins to unfold here, and it feels important. because this is where the heart behind the distance starts showing itself more clearly. What the cards are revealing now is not absence of feeling. It is caution. It is emotional self-protection. It is someone trying very hard not to reveal how much they still care. The first card appearing here is the Two of Swords. This card shows inner conflict. A part of them may want to reach. A part of them may want to stay silent. A part of them may want to ask how you are, and another part may be afraid of what your answer would awaken in them. So if this person has seemed frozen or emotionally hard to move, the Two of Swords says it may not be because they feel nothing, it may be because they feel enough, that making the wrong move feels dangerous. The next card appearing here is the Eight of Cups. Now this is where many people get confused because from the outside this card can look like someone walking away. But in this reading, it feels more like someone trying to walk away from their own emotional intensity and not fully succeeding. They may have told themselves to move on, to stop thinking about it, to stop circling the connection. But the cards say the emotional leaving never became complete inside them. Their mind may try to go elsewhere, but the heart keeps returning. The next card appearing here is the Star. And this is such a beautiful confirmation because the Star says there is still hope living quietly inside them. Not always spoken, not always obvious, but present. They may still wonder if the connection could be healed, if you still think of them, if what was felt between you could ever become warm again. The Star is not the card of someone emotionally finished. It is the card of someone who still carries a private light for another person, even while pretending to be fine. The next card appearing here is the Page of Swords. This card says curiosity is still active. They may still watch from a distance, still notice small things, still pay attention more than they should. The Page of Swords does not fully let go. It checks. It wonders. It tries to understand what is happening in the other person's world without fully stepping into the open. So if you have felt like they are still quietly aware of you, the cards suggest you may be right. The next card appearing here is the Five of Cups. Now the reading softens in a painful way because this card shows regret. The emotional ache of looking at what has been lost, or at least what has changed. This person may be carrying disappointment, not only in the connection, but in themselves. They may know they withdrew. They may know they became difficult to read. They may know they let silence grow where honesty should have spoken. And that may be one of the reasons their feelings now stay hidden behind distance. Regret can make a person quieter, not freer. The next card appearing here is the Knight of Cups. This card is so important here because it says that despite all the hesitation, despite all the fear, the emotional current still wants to move towards you. The Knight of Cups is not empty affection, it is a heart with something real to offer. So even if they have not yet come forward, the impulse to do so may still be living inside them, the impulse to speak, to soften, to reconnect, to let what they feel become visible. The final card appearing here is the Sunday, and this brings such clarity. The Sunday says the truth beneath the distance is much warmer than it looks. This person may still feel joy when they think of you, still feel a pull towards your energy, still feel that something about you lights up a place inside them, and that is why the message here becomes very clear. What looks like lost interest may actually be hidden emotion. What looks like detachment may actually be fear. What looks like silence may actually be someone trying not to reveal that your energy still has power over their heart. There is one more layer here too. Part of the reason they may seem so difficult to read is because they are trying to protect themselves from the full truth of what they feel. Once a person admits, even privately, that they still care deeply, they also have to face what that means. They have to face longing, vulnerability, desire, hope, and all of that can feel overwhelming when the heart is already bruised or uncertain. So instead of moving naturally, they pause, they hold back, they think too much, they say less than they feel, but the cards say the feeling is still there, very much there, just hidden behind caution for now. And even now, while they try to look composed, your name may still move through them more deeply than they let anyone see. That is why the energy feels unfinished, not faded. The heart is still involved. The story is still alive, and the truth beneath all this quiet is still love, trying not to be seen yet. This is where the quiet starts feeling less like distance and more like restraint, Because the cards are showing that this person may not have lost interest at all. They may be holding back, holding in, holding still, holding feelings they do not trust themselves to reveal yet. The first card appearing here is the Eight of Swords. This card says the mind is involved heavily now, overthinking. Replaying questioning, this person may be trapped in loops of thought when it comes to you. What if they reach out? What if they say too much? What if your energy has already shifted beyond what they can repair? The Eight of Swords shows someone who feels the emotional pulse strongly, but does not know how to move through their own fear cleanly. So instead of speaking, they circle. Instead of acting, they hesitate. The next card appearing here is the Six of Cups. This brings the reading back to tenderness because underneath the mental conflict, there is warmth, sweetness, emotional memory. They may replay the little things about you, a phrase you said, a look you gave, a moment that felt easy and almost too natural to appreciate fully at the time. The Six of Cups is the card that says your energy did not just pass through their life, it stayed. And the more it stayed, the more meaningful it became. The next card appearing here is the Four of Pentacles. This tells me they are holding on not loudly, not dramatically, but tightly inside. The Four of Pentacles often appears when someone is afraid to lose emotional connection, even while pretending they are fine. So this person may still be holding on to your memory, your place in their heart. The possibility of what this could still mean, they may not be expressing all of that, but they are not releasing it either. Because people do not grip this tightly around something they no longer care about. The next card appearing here is the Knight of Swords. Now the energy shifts because somewhere inside all the hesitation, there is urgency. This person may have moments where they suddenly want to act, to message, to speak, to clear the silence, to say something direct before too much more time passes. But because their emotions are not settled, that urge may come in waves, strong one moment, buried the next. The Knight of Swords says the impulse to break the distance is real, even if they have not followed through yet. The next card appearing here is the Queen of Cups. And this is beautiful because it says the feeling underneath everything is soft. They may care more deeply than they let on. They may think about your heart, how you felt, what their silence may have done, whether you still carry any tenderness toward them. The Queen of Cups is emotional depth with gentleness. So if they seem cold sometimes, the cards say not to confuse that with lack of feeling. It may simply be a person who does not know how to carry their own tenderness into the open. The next card appearing here is the Moon. This confirms again that hidden emotion is shaping the whole connection. Not all of what they feel is visible. Not all of what they think is spoken. Not all of what they miss is admitted. The Moon says their emotional reality may be much stronger than their behavior suggests. That is why this reading keeps returning to the same truth. Silence is not emptiness here. Silence is concealment. The final card appearing here is the Ace of Cups. And this is the card that changes everything because the Ace of Cups says the feeling is alive. Not dead, not fading a leaf. It may not be expressed. It may not be trusted. It may not yet be moving the way you want it to, but it is alive. You may think they have lost interest because they are quiet, because they have not said enough, because their actions have been mixed, because their distance has created doubt. But the cards say their heart is carrying real feelings, still thinking, still missing, still holding on, still wanting something to open again. There's another layer here too. Part of what may be keeping them silent is not only fear of rejection, but fear of their own emotional truth, because once they admit how much they care, they cannot hide from it anymore. They cannot call it small. They cannot call it nothing. They cannot reduce the bond to something casual or forgettable. And that may be exactly what they have been trying to avoid. The intensity of what you still awaken inside them. So even now, while they try to stay composed, your energy may still be moving through them in private ways they cannot easily switch off. In memory, in longing, in the quiet emotional spaces where truth becomes harder to outrun. That is why the connection still feels alive, because underneath all the silence, their heart has not let go. It is only trying very carefully not to reveal how much it still feels. Even now, it stays near still. A deeper movement rises here, and this part feels like the moment where the hidden feelings begin pressing harder against the silence, because after enough distance, after enough thinking, after enough pretending to be fine, the heart starts becoming restless. It stops accepting silence as protection. It starts feeling silence as loss. The first card appearing here is the Two of Cups. This card says the bond itself is still alive inside them, not as fantasy, not as what once was, as a real emotional connection that still carries warmth, significance, and unfinished feeling. The Two of Cups is mutual energy in spirit. It is the sense that what was shared mattered, that what was felt did not vanish just because things became quiet, that another heart still exists in the emotional field and still matters. So if you have been wondering whether the connection still lives in them, this card says yes, very much. The next card appearing here is the Hanged Man. Now we see why movement has been so strange. This person may be suspended inside their own emotions, wanting to move, but pausing, wanting to reach, but waiting, wanting to say something, but getting caught in the stillness of their own uncertainty. The Hanged Man is not a card of no feeling. It is a card of delayed feeling, feeling held in place. Feeling forced inward until deeper truth becomes impossible to avoid. So what looks like stillness from the outside may actually be emotional suspension on the inside. The next card appearing here is the Seven of Pentacles. This card says they are looking back, reviewing, measuring, trying to understand what this connection has really meant to them over time. The Seven of Pentacles is patient reflection. It asks, what has grown here? What have I invested emotionally? What is still alive, even after distance? And the answer they may keep finding is this: you still matter more than they expected. The next card appearing here is the Knight of Cups. This is important because it says the emotional impulse to come toward you has not disappeared. Even if it has been delayed, even if it has been hidden, even if it has been interrupted by fear, the impulse is still there. The Knight of Cups is the heart wanting movement, wanting honesty, wanting to cross the distance with softness instead of pride. So if this person suddenly begins feeling stronger urges to reach out, to speak, to let tenderness show, this card explains why. The heart is tiring of restraint. The next card appearing here is the Five of Cups. This brings in regret, not necessarily dramatic regret, quiet regret. The kind that shows up when someone realizes how much they miss a bond they assumed would still be there later. They may regret the silence, regret the withdrawal, regret the way things were left emotionally unfinished. And regret has a way of making love clearer. Because once absence begins teaching the lesson, the heart often stops pretending the feeling is smaller than it is. The next card appearing here is the Star. This is the healing current beneath all the complexity. Because the Star says that even now they may still look at you with hope. Hope that the bond is not fully lost. Hope that understanding can return. Hope that what still glows between you could be felt again if the distance softened. The Star is not the card of emotional closure. It is the card of emotional faith, and that matters, because it says their heart may still be quietly reaching toward possibility. The final card appearing here is the Ace of Wands. This changes the energy powerfully. Because the Ace of Wands says the feeling may soon want action, not only emotion, action, and opening. A message, a sudden decision to stop holding back quite so much. The Ace of Wands is the spark that says this cannot stay buried forever. So the message of this part becomes very clear. You may think they have lost interest, but the cards show something very different. The bond is still alive, the emotions are still active, the regret is real, the hope is still present. And now, the silence may be getting harder for them to maintain. There is one more layer here too. Part of what may be changing inside them is that they are no longer only feeling the connection passively. They are beginning to feel the cost of not acting on what they feel. And that cost may be growing heavier. Because once a heart realizes that distance is not protecting it, only starving it, everything begins to shift. That is where this energy feels now. Not finished, not faded, on the edge of movement. And that edge matters because sometimes the person who looks the quietest is the one standing closest to finally doing something. Not because the fear is gone, because the feeling has outgrown the hiding place. And once that happens, distance stops feeling safe and starts feeling unbearable, much more than you can see right now. Something warmer moves into this part of the reading. By now, the cards are no longer only showing hidden feeling, they are showing emotional accumulation. The kind that builds quietly, patiently, until one day the person carrying it realizes they cannot keep calling it nothing anymore. The first card appearing here is the Nine of Cups. This card says your energy still brings emotional warmth into their world, not occasionally, not by accident, consistently. Thinking about you may still soften them, still lift their mood, still create a sweetness inside them they do not fully know how to explain. The Nine of Cups is the card of emotional pleasure. You still feel good to their heart. People can force themselves to stay silent, but they cannot easily erase the place where someone still brings them joy. The next card appearing here is the Four of Cups. Now we see the contradiction. Even though you still live warmly inside them, their outer energy may still look withdrawn, flat, quiet, hard to read. The Four of Cups often appears when someone is emotionally affected, but unsure how to move, so they pause, they think too much, they watch. They sit with feeling instead of expressing it, and that can look like disinterest from the outside. But inside, they are still emotionally engaged. The next card appearing here is the Page of Swords. This says their attention is not gone, it is active. They may still notice you in small ways, still wonder what you are doing, still pick up on little details, still feel that restless pull to check, to know, to understand. The Page of Swords is curiosity mixed with attachment, and attachment does not sit comfortably in silence. It keeps leaning forward. So even if they are not saying much, their awareness of you may still be stronger than you realize. The next card appearing here is the Eight of Cups. Yes, there may have been an attempt to create distance. They may have told themselves it was better to move on, better to step back, better to stop feeding the connection. But the Eight of Cups here says the emotional leaving never became complete. What they walked away from on the outside, their heart may still be walking toward on the inside. That is why the energy still feels unfinished. That is why your name still has weight. The next card appearing here is the Queen of Cups. This card says their feelings may still be much softer than their behavior suggests. They may care about your heart, care about what you felt, care about whether the silence hurt you. The Queen of Cups is not cold love. It is tender love, protective feeling. Emotional depth that does not always know how to make itself visible in a direct way. So if they seem guarded, do not automatically assume they are untouched. The cards say their emotional world may still be very open where you are concerned. The next card appearing here is the Knight of Pentacles. It says the movement may be slow, but it is not absent. The Knight of Pentacles is careful, deliberate, sometimes frustratingly slow. But when this card appears in a reading like this, it suggests that the connection is not being thrown away emotionally. It is being processed seriously. This person may still be trying to understand how to approach things in a way that feels safe, real, and sustainable. So the slowness is not proof of emptiness. It may actually be proof that the feeling matters enough to be taken seriously. The final card appearing here is the Ace of Cups. And this is what makes the whole message impossible to ignore. The Ace of Cups is live feeling. Overflowing emotion, the heart wanting to speak again. So the message of this part becomes very clear. You may think they have lost interest, but their heart still carries emotional current where you are concerned. There is still warmth, still care, still unfinished feeling, still something in them that has not let the bond go. There is one more layer here too. Part of what may be happening is that they are starting to understand the difference between distance and detachment. Distance can be created by fear, by timing, by emotional confusion, by uncertainty. Detachment is something else. And the cards say this person may not be detached at all. They may simply be afraid of how much still lives inside them. Afraid that one honest moment could open everything back up. Afraid that one real conversation could make them feel all of it at once. Afraid that if they let themselves stop pretending, they will have to admit the truth. That the interest never fully died, that the feeling never fully left, that you still matter, more than their silence has ever been able to show. And once that truth rises fully, it may ask for movement. It may ask for honesty. It may ask for them to finally stop acting like the heart has gone empty when it clearly has not. Everything gathers here, and the final truth of this reading feels impossible to miss. You may think they have lost interest. You may think silence means the feeling is gone. You may think distance has emptied their heart. But the cards are closing with a very different message. Their heart is still involved deeply. The first card appearing here is the Two of Cups. This card says the bond still lives, not as a dead memory, not as something they once felt and left behind. It still lives. The Two of Cups is emotional recognition. It is the sense that what exists between two people matters, even when the outer world becomes quiet. So when this person thinks about you now, they may still feel the connection in the present tense, not only in the past, that matters more than you know. Because people can walk away from conversation, they can delay messages, they can act distant. But if the bond is still active in the heart, it keeps speaking underneath everything else. The next card appearing here is the Moon. And yes, this confirms again that much of what they feel remains hidden. Not absent, hidden. They may still miss you without saying it. Still think of you without showing it. Still feel your energy moving through them in moments they cannot easily explain. The Moon says their silence may be protecting something very real. Fear, vulnerability, uncertainty. The awareness that if they fully admit how much they still care, they will no longer be able to pretend this connection is small. The next card appearing here is the Knight of Cups. This is one of the clear signs that emotion still wants movement. The Knight of Cups does not stay satisfied with feeling forever. At some point, the heart wants expression. It wants to speak. It wants to cross distance. It wants to place sincerity in front of the other person and say, this is what I feel. So even if they have not reached out yet, the emotional impulse to do so is still alive inside them. And that is why the energy remains warm, not closed. The next card appearing here is the Six of Cups. This card is tenderness, memory sweetness, emotional imprint. They may still replay little things. Your voice, a look, a sentence. A small moment that did not seem huge at the time but stayed in their heart afterward. The Six of Cups says you are not forgotten. You are felt through memory, and memory that still carries warmth. Usually belongs to a heart that has not let go. The next card appearing here is the Eight of Swords. This shows the mental struggle. They may still be overthinking, still trapping themselves in silence, still asking too many questions before making one simple move. What if you changed? What if it is too late? What if they say too much? What if the feeling is still as strong as they fear it is? The Eight of Swords says their mind may be slowing down what their heart already knows, but a slowed heart is not an empty one. The next card appearing here is the Sunday. This is beautiful because it says your energy still brings light into them, not darkness, not indifference light. They may still feel a shift in their mood when they think about you, still feel warmth when they remember you, still sense that something about your energy remains genuinely good in their emotional world. The Sunday says the truth underneath all the confusion is simple. You still matter to them. The final card appearing here is the Ace of Cups. And this is the blessing over the entire reading, because the Ace of Cups is live feeling, overflowing feeling, feeling that wants to rise, not disappear. So the final message becomes very clear. They have not lost interest. They have not become emotionally empty. They have not gone cold in the way you may fear. What they feel may be quiet, guarded, or delayed, but it is still real. There is still care, still longing, still emotional current. Still a heart that has not finished with you. And there is one last truth here. Sometimes the deepest